Hello and welcome to Bespoke Unit. Today we're going to be talking about Cerruti 1881, a fragrance that was released in 1990 by Nino Cerruti. Before we begin, a little bit of backstory about Cerruti. It was founded in 1967 by Nino Cerruti, who moved the headquarters to Paris after his father's untimely death because it was the international capital of fashion and culture. It was given the name 1881, or his boutiques were given the name 1881, after the year his grandfather had founded the family's first textile mill. Now, in the late 70s, Nino Cerruti had already branched into fragrances and released simply Nino Cerruti Pour Homme. It lasted until the late 80s and then was phased out and replaced with Cerruti 1881. The nose of the fragrance is Martin Gras, Gras, and the fragrance itself, well, let's see what we make of it today. Now, for this review, I'm using the Bespoke Unit fragrance formula. As you can see, I've already written some notes on it. You can do too. You can download a copy on our site, which is written in the comments below. So, in the fragrance formula, there's a particular order that we cover them in, and I will review them likewise. So let's give it a spray. Now, if you've read on our site, there are certain ways to apply. There's the spraying distance, which is good to respect, because the vaporizer, the atomizer, as you can see, has a cone. It projects. So don't do it too close, otherwise you just get covered in a puddle. Don't do it too far because the vapor you get on your hand will be too faint. But be sure to do something at 70% of the atomizer spray distance. Twice. Don't smell it straight away because the alcohol will be cooking off. And when you think the time is right, give it a sniff. So the first thing we get, which is quite well known in this fragrance, is an almost overwhelming citrus head. Not necessarily in a bad way, but it's sickly sweet. That is because of the presence of Juniper. There's also, it's quite aromatic. You've got some aromatic lavender in there. And then it comes over a green backdrop, which seems like Cypress. Some have made the comment about it being sickly sweet, but no, it's not too bad. It's enjoyable. It's definitely enjoyable. While we wait for this to do the dry down to their heart, let's just quickly talk about the seasonality. So it's a very well-rounded fragrance. You can wear this most months. I'd say definitely its aromatic presence would mean you can wear it during spring, summer for sure, autumn, yes, winter, it might struggle. On top of that, the sense of smell is weaker during the winter months, so because we've got quite varied notes in there, it might be difficult to pick them all out and to enjoy its complexity. Now we're well into the heart, and it's extremely floral, surprisingly so. We have notes of lily of the valley, carnation, Ylang Ylang or Ylang Ylang. But there is still this consistent green backdrop, which I'd say is Vetiver. Nevertheless, there is still a citrus presence. It's still somewhere there, which means that the green, the woody greenness and the citrus seems to be playing an overarching theme in the composition. So now we're at the base. Now we have this interesting duality in the fragrance right now. We have this fresh, woody cedar wood and pine dryness on one end, which is very sharp, very powdery. But on the other side, we have something which is much more mellow, It's got this coolness about it, this kind of damp, dead leaf scent, which I'd liken to oak moss and patchouli. So in terms of fragrance family, this would suggest that this isn't an aromatic fougere fragrance, but more of a woody citrus, because of the overarching and blatant presence of citrus notes and the woody base, and the green notes that are a consistent backdrop through every phase of the fragrance's dry down. Performance is okay. If you like to reapply fragrances during the day and you use a travel atomizer, I'd say around lunchtime this will definitely need another hit. But otherwise, its performance is average, which is why I've given it, in the fragrance format, I've given it an 8 out of 15. Now, in terms of third-party feedback, it's generally positive. It's not polarized, but it's not overly enthusiastic either. A lot of people were put off by the sickly sweet head, but nevertheless they were enjoying the dry down. They particularly liked the base. The heart was quite pleasant, with this floral bouquet, as was the greenness throughout. Some people actually likened it to Christian Dior's Eau Sauvage, not the new one, but the old one. Some actually preferred Eau Sauvage, but then again, as we'll discuss later, the budgets aren't exactly the same. With regards to the fragrance's impressions, which corresponds to its wearability and its high-level usage thoughts, we're looking at something that is quite varied in terms of demographic. We can easily imagine this being worn on a gentleman in his 30s or even his 40s. Likewise, it could be worn by someone who's much younger. This is thanks to the varied composition, the floral bouquet, the freshness, the greenness, yet which is always restrained by the presence of a more mature woody factor. In terms of the time of day that you'd wear this, I say that it performs best during the day and not so much at night. This is a real daytime fragrance, which performs the best probably during spring or summer. It's a very, in terms of occasion, more of an office fragrance. You could wear this very casually with ease. It's very easy to imagine wearing this actually at a summer barbecue among friends during the daytime or the early evening. But I wouldn't expect to smell it on a formal occasion. In terms of masculinity, now I get the impression that this is a fragrance that wants to be a macho, virile fragrance. However, it comes across more as moderate. That is due to the presence of a floral bouquet, aromatic notes, and certain green elements which sort of curb that overly masculine presence. Nevertheless, that is much more modern. To say that this came out in 1990, for it to be less masculine in the conventional sense, means that it is much more open to being worn by a much wider demographic. Now let's talk about presentation, what we're looking at here. Now the bottle, I really like it. I think it's very interesting. We have this mottled glass back, which is clouded, which looks like a rock surface, so when you have liquid inside it, it's reminiscent of a waterfall. On the front we have 1881, which has been carved in there, and on the side Cerruti 1881, which has been written in a nice serif font. The atomizer is very good. It doesn't perform badly. It gives a nice dispersal. The cap is plastic, but it looks good and it fits on very well. Unfortunately, the packaging is something of a disappointment after such a pleasing bottle. and it is, after all, the first impression that a buyer or someone receiving it as a gift would have. We've tried to follow the same theme as the bottle, that is to say something that is green with a sort of mottled texture. We have the 1881 logo shown in the same style across the front, which is embossed cardboard. Speaking of the cardboard, it's a matte finish, and then it has this sort of green printed texture on it, which up close it does unfortunately look quite pixelated. Nevertheless, given the value for money, this is okay. This is a middle of the road budget fragrance. The RRP is at around $23 for 100 milliliters, but on Amazon it fetches us more at around $15, which you can double check in the description below. So to conclude, Cerruti 1881, what do we think? As I more or less touched on earlier, Cerruti 1881 seems to project itself as this brash Italian uncle that wears a leather jacket, has slick back hair, swears a lot, and tries to impress the ladies by flexing his muscles. However, he secretly listens to Coldplay. Now that's not a bad thing. This means that this is a fragrance with a more refined side to it. Nevertheless, it seems to be inconsistent with some of its notes, where we have a huge floral presence, citrus presence, woodiness, greenness, and aromatic notes as well. Some people might find this lack of fixed identity disconcerting. Some people might enjoy the variety. It does have a sickly sweet head, but then again, some people may enjoy that as well, and remember that the head is only temporary. All in all, it is an average to good fragrance. Remembering that it's a budget fragrance, it is definitely one that is worth giving a try. You can decide for yourself by checking the links below to Amazon, and we look forward to hearing what you think in the comments section. I'm Charles-Philippe Bowles, and that's all from me today. Remember to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. We don't just do fragrances, we do much more in men's lifestyle. And head to our website, bespokeunit.com. Don't forget to like our Facebook and follow our Instagram. You'll find all the links down below in the description, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.